In a movie built around Superman, it was Guy Gardner who left the biggest impression. 5 minutes, one meltdown, all attitude. This is how DC's Wildcard took over the screen. Welcome to Horoscope. To understand why Guy Gardner stole the show in Superman, you have to start with what he represents. He's not just comic relief. He's not there to crack a joke and exit stage left. Guy is a narrative weapon.
I am a god, you dull creature!
A deliberate contrast designed to reflect just how powerful, calm, and morally unshakable Superman really is. By throwing him next to someone who's none of those things, where Superman is composed, thoughtful, and carries the weight of the world with grace, Guy Gardner is the human equivalent of a firecracker in a crowded elevator.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly.
He's arrogant, impulsive, brash, and loud in ways that immediately irritate everyone in the room, especially Superman. But that's exactly the point. Guy is a funhouse mirror of heroism. He's what happens when someone is fearless without wisdom, powerful without restraint. And in that chaos, he makes Superman's grace look godlike. This isn't a new dynamic either. It's straight from the comics. In the Justice League International run by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis in the late 1980s, Guy Gardner was written specifically to be that guy. The obnoxious hothead who thought he should lead the team instead of Batman. And of course, that leads to the single most famous moment in his comic history. When he steps up to Batman, starts ranting, removes his ring to prove a point, and gets knocked out in one punch. The panel after that? Blue Beetle laughing so hard he falls out of his chair. Even Superman cracked a smile. That's who Guy is. The hero who's just barely heroic enough to make the cut, but still chaotic enough to turn every moment into a fire hazard.
You're going to regret it.
That I'd like to see! One punch! One punch!
And when you put that next to Superman, the effect is powerful. Clark Kent doesn't need to flex to look impressive next to Guy. His restraint, his empathy, his gentle confidence, it all shines brighter because Guy is yelling through a megaphone about how great he is. Even in Superman, James Gunn leans into that comic authenticity.
I understood that reference.
Fillion's Guy storms in, tries to dominate the scene, and what does Superman do? He doesn't shout, he doesn't fight. He waits, listens, then shuts Guy down calmly with that firm teacher energy that makes you feel like a toddler in detention. It's a brilliant echo of how Superman handled Guy in Action Comics, Circa 642, where Clark diffuses tension with words, not fists. Gunn clearly gets it. He doesn't want Superman to look cool by making others weaker. He wants to show how inner strength makes outer power unnecessary, and Guy Gardner is the perfect tool for that. He's the living embodiment of doing too much, and watching Superman stand firm next to that hurricane makes you respect him all the more.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
And that's why, in just a few minutes, Guy made Superman more super. Let's be real. Great writing only gets you halfway. The rest? It's all in the casting. And in Superman, Nathan Fillion doesn't just play Guy Gardner. He channels him. He doesn't reinterpret the character or soften his edges. He dives headfirst into the comic-accurate madness and comes out fists swinging and ego-blazing. For decades, fans campaigned to see Fillion as Hal Jordan, the classic, cocky test pilot Green Lantern. And sure, Fillion could have pulled it off. But what James Gunn did instead was way smarter. He cast Fillion as Guy, the worst team player in the Corps, the Lantern with the biggest chip on his shoulder and the least amount of self-awareness. And somehow, it was perfect. Because Guy Gardner isn't supposed to be likable. He's supposed to be memorable.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
Fillion leaned all the way into Guy's worst traits. He swaggered, shouted, interrupted, and made you want to punch him, while also making you laugh. He brought a type of comedic timing that didn't deflate the tension, it amped it up. You could feel the entire room shift when Guy opened his mouth, and that's exactly how it should feel. In the comics, especially during the Green Lantern, Rebirth era, and the Justice League International run, Guy walks into every situation like he's the main character, even when he's clearly not. But the brilliance of Fillion's performance isn't just the volume, it's the confidence. Guy Gardner's superpower isn't the ring, it's his delusional belief that he's always right, and Fillion captures that with laser precision. In interviews, he's said it plainly. Guy doesn't care what you think of him, that's what makes him dangerous and fun. That mix of obliviousness and self-certainty makes him feel like every guy who walks into a bar like he owns it. and then proceeds to get kicked out 20 minutes later. Gunn understood this vibe perfectly. He said in an interview that Guy Gardner is a different kind of hero, fearless but flawed. That's what separates him from the cookie-cutter versions of Superman and Batman that dominated the 2010s. Guy's not brooding in a cave or wrestling with childhood trauma. He's just kind of a jerk. But that jerk has layers. Even Guy's look in the movie was a direct nod to the comics. The green leather vest, the giant G logo belt, and yes, even the bowl haircut, all pulled straight from Justice League International and Green Lantern Volume 3. Gunn didn't modernize him. He didn't redesign him to be more cinematic. He let Guy be Guy, and Fillion made that decision shine. And what's wild is how effective this was. In just a few minutes of screen time, Guy left a mark. He wasn't a sidekick. He wasn't a cameo. He was a vibe, a problem, a scene stealer. It felt like when Wolverine first showed up in X-Men 2000, or when Loki hijacked the screen in The Avengers. You didn't come for him, but suddenly, he's all you can think about. By casting Fillion, Gunn gave us a Guy Gardner who feels real, not because he's relatable, but because we've all met someone just like him. He's that guy at work, that guy at the bar, that guy who won't stop talking over you at dinner, and now, he's a Green Lantern. And somehow, we wouldn't have it any other way. Here's the part that really sneaks up on you. Guy Gardner isn't just funny or annoying or a well-cast side character. He works because he taps into something bigger, something that modern audiences crave, maybe without even realizing it. A hero who doesn't have it all figured out. A guy who's not perfect, not noble, and sometimes not even all that helpful, but is still trying. In a movie built around Superman, the ideal, the icon, the blueprint, it's Guy Gardner, the human trash fire with a power ring who ends up stealing the spotlight for one reason. He's honest in his flaws. Guy doesn't hide behind trauma. He doesn't explain away his behavior with a tragic backstory. He's just that guy, the one who charges headfirst into situations with zero finesse, maximum ego, and a total lack of filter. In a world of polished superheroes and clean moral arcs, Guy's messiness feels real. And here's the twist. He's still a hero. In Green Lantern Corps, Recharge, and Emerald Warriors, we see Guy take on some of the most dangerous missions in the universe. He grumbles, he mocks, he complains the whole way, but when it matters, he shows up. He fights. He saves lives. That duality, arrogant on the outside, dependable underneath, is what makes him stick. He's a guy who makes you roll your eyes and root for him at the same time. This flawed hero concept isn't new, but in a cinematic landscape that's often obsessed with darkness or perfection, it stands out. We've seen James Gunn do this before. Peacemaker, for example, is a walking contradiction. Violent, immature, loyal, broken, and trying like hell to be better. And now with Guy, Gunn adds another layer. A hero who's not trying to be better. He's just trying not to get kicked off the team. And yet, that's still progress. Nathan Fillion captured this beautifully. In an interview with Collider, he said, "We all want to be Superman, but we act like Guy. That's where the fun is." It's true. Deep down, we relate more to Guy's chaos than Clark's composure. Guy says the wrong thing, he brags, he screws up. But the ring still chooses him. Because in the Green Lantern lore, especially in Jeff Johns' Rebirth series, you don't have to be good. You have to be fearless. And Guy is that, to a fault. He's willing to die screaming, even if no one asked him to. There's also a tonal genius here. By putting Guy in the same universe as Superman, Gunn adds emotional texture. We know the DCU is moving toward characters like Swamp Thing, The Authority, and Booster Gold, each of them with their own quirks and flaws. Guy Gardner acts as a bridge. His obnoxiousness reminds us that not every hero is noble, and not every team will get along. That tension? That's drama. That's fun. That's human. This is also a smart move for the future. Guy's return in the upcoming Lantern series will let us dig even deeper. Gunn has hinted this won't be a sanitized space opera. Fillion even joked he's dropped more F-bombs as Guy than in his entire career combined. That means more grit, more dysfunction, and more of the exact energy that makes Guy perfect for long-form storytelling. But even in these few minutes in Superman, he made an impact. His arrival didn't just shake up the movie, it reframed Superman. Clark Kent didn't have to raise his voice or fly into battle. He just had to stand there and not lose his cool while Guy self-destructed 3 feet away. In that quiet resistance, we saw the real Superman. And in Guy's glorious meltdown, We saw a hero who's messy, obnoxious, and all too human. And that might be the best contrast the DCU could have hoped for. So why did Guy Gardner steal the show with just a few minutes of screen time? Because it wasn't about screen time, it was about impact. James Gunn knew exactly what he was doing when he dropped Guy Gardner into Superman. He didn't need a 20-minute arc or a heroic redemption subplot. He just needed one loud, chaotic, scene-shattering personality to do what no villain could: make Superman more relatable, more calm, more real. Guy was the perfect foil. Where Superman is the still lake, Guy is the cannonball. But that contrast didn't dim the Man of Steel, it lit him up. It gave us a moment where we saw Superman not as a god, but as a guy navigating a dysfunctional co-worker. And in that moment, Clark became more human and more heroic than ever. What really sold it was the performance. Nathan Fillion didn't just play Guy Gardner, he became him. The comic-accurate bowl cut, the ego, the leather, the zero-filter attitude. He brought every panel of Justice League International, Green Lantern Corps, and Emerald Warriors to life with an energy that was both hilarious and unsettling. You wanted to punch him, but also couldn't wait to see what he'd say next. And somehow, amidst the chaos, you believed in him. Because at the end of the day, Guy Gardner is a hero. Not because he's noble, not because he's kind, but because when it's time to throw down, he always shows up. That's the secret. He may be loud, obnoxious, and completely lacking in tact. But when the universe is on the line, he's in the fight. And that flawed bravery, that stubborn refusal to quit, that's the kind of hero we all recognize, even if we don't want to admit it. More importantly, his debut sets the tone for what's coming. If this is the DCU now, it's going to be louder, messier, and more human. Guy Gardner isn't just comic relief. He's the proof that this universe has room for heroes who aren't perfect. Heroes who get on your nerves, who challenge the status quo, and who make the polished icons around them feel even more iconic. He's the chaos that makes the calm stand out. So whether you love to hate him or hated how much you loved him, Guy Gardner did exactly what he was supposed to do. He left you wanting more. And something tells me we're just getting started. What did you think of Guy Gardner's role in Superman? Did he steal the scene, or just steal your patience? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if you love messy heroes, and don't forget to subscribe to Heroescope for more deep dives into the DCU's biggest personalities, most surprising moments, and comic book legends. The Lanterns are coming. You'll want to be here for it.